What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also host the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And I am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative, which is a multimedia not-for-profit that showcases Blacks in the diaspora that are doing their thing in food, drink, and travel. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. You're watching The Morning Vibe on November 12th, the day after Remembrance Day here in Canada and Veterans Day in the United States. So, Ryan Knight, what's going on?
Yeah, and shout out to Brampton, the Veteran Parade yesterday. And it was interesting because I had a better perspective based on the conversation we had with Caesar, talking about, hey, the symbolism of that black dot in the poppy representing, hey, the Black servicemen and Indigenous. So quick shout out to that. And for those that don't know me, my name is Ryan Knight. I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, figuring out what stage they're in today, and then helping them create a blueprint to exponentially grow their companies. Of course, myself, I'm an entrepreneur representing Detailing Nights, a mobile waterless car cleaning company that comes to your house or your office, cleans your car on the spot. But of course, I'm more excited about our youth program. So we're in our fall edition. Shout out to Taj, Torian, and Nathan, where they're running mini businesses in the fall. Basically, well, actually, Torian's full-time, but
okay.
Yeah, he switched after he finished school.
Okay, congratulations.
Now.
That's fantastic. Where's Nathan? I see Nathan in the background. Where is he today?
Good question. No, he's been under the weather. So when you can't pass the screening, you can't get in the building. So he's been working on getting symptom-free, I guess.
All right. What's been going on this week?
This week, oh man, what has been going on? So something quite exciting, I feel. And I feel like it's small, but it's big to me. So with ACBN, you'll know that we are part of this ecosystem fund. So we got funding from the government. Part of that is, purchasing services. So we have to create our own procurement process. So finishing one of the procurements for an event manager for the conference that we're going to be doing in June, we put the procurement bid up on Merx. So if people don't know what Merx is, that is an online database where it aggregates all of the government bids, like all the different procurement that's available. So just seeing our procurement on I want to say like a professional, but an established, alongside the city of Brampton and the federal government is little ACBN's procurement that people can go and download. And hey, if you're in the event management business, check it out. You can download, the bid from Merx and apply or submit a proposal. So I felt like we've taken another step being so professional.
So you're looking for event management for the event?
Yeah, and we're also doing a bid for overall marketing agency to take over ACBN's work. And one more. Oh man, what am I forgetting?
Media?
No, that's part of the marketing. There was something else that we're doing. We're doing a labor market study. So we're bringing on a research firm to do a labor research study. Yeah.
Wow. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it ties so nicely into our guest today because this gentleman has been with ACBN from the beginning when we had a initial breakfast meeting that didn't have any breakfast, and he always ribs me about it. I didn't know the restaurant didn't serve breakfast, but anyway, so he was able to join and really mentor us young entrepreneurs as we had this concept of ACBN, and I don't feel like we'd be anywhere that we are today without this gentleman, Ray McMillan, that also runs his own mortgage brokerage with his son that I always love seeing that progression, but he's been in the field of Black empowerment for decades. And his mentorship with us has really helped us hit milestones that I don't think that we would have hit. So pleasure to see you, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for having me in your show. Thanks.
Well, good morning. Good morning. And as you can see, the hosts are underdressed for this event. But I was told before we went live, this is the way Ray rolls in his attire.
Always on point.
So
I don't think I've ever seen you out of a suit. Now that I think about it, was there ever a time you're out of a suit?
I couldn't answer that question, Ryan. I honestly couldn't.
Yes.
Well, Mr. McMillan, this is, as I said before we went live, it's long overdue here. I've heard your name in a positive light for many, many years, so it is a pleasure and honor finally to meet you. For those who don't know of you, can you share a little bit of your background? Because obviously Ryan's like your son, so I'm an outsider here. Can you just share with some of our audience some of your background?
I moved to Canada in 1989 after finishing university. Like most of us who migrate, I came here expecting to find myself an amazing job, have a great career. If you're familiar with the late 80s, there was a recession in Canada. So when I got here, there weren't too many available jobs. So I worked retail for a few years. And then I started to transition into wanting to be an entrepreneur. At that point, what most of us did was sell financial service products. So I started to sell life insurance and investment products. That was an amazing experience, but I was very unsuccessful at it. I struggled being young, being unfamiliar with the landscape, and being within an environment where people didn't have a very high financial IQ. So understanding investment and insurance products wasn't something that they thought highly of. Well, when I struggled there, I actually moved into the banking system for a couple of years. And one thing I must say with the large banks in Canada, they train their staff extremely well. Because at that point, I met one of my mentors who told me I should consider starting my own consulting firm. This is in 1999.
Wow.
So in 94, I started my own business, but that was unsuccessful. And in 99, I retransitioned back into that landscape. But what I wanted to do was fee-based financial planning. That was my interest, help clients to build wealth through investing in mutual funds in the stock market. However, most of my clients were more interested in credit products. Many of my clients were self-employed. And I used to walk the beat. I'd get into my car, park at Eglinton West subway station, and I'd walk Eglinton and knock on doors, man.
Wow.
Give my business card.
Yes.
Support their business. And many of those people are my clients still today. And I do the same thing in Scarborough. I'll park my car down at, I think it was the Kennedy subway station.
Yeah.
Kennedy and Eglinton, somewhere around there. And I'd walk the stretch again on Eglinton Avenue. Let's go into every single Black business, every hair salon, every barbershop, every restaurant, every mechanic. So a lot of folks may have known me from those days.
True.
And then, I said the question was all about credit. Everybody had their own business, how to get credit for their business, and how to buy a home. And once they knew I'd come from a banking environment, they had confidence in my guidance. The first year was a challenge. I spent, I think I told this to Ryan before, my first year of working for myself, I made $897.67.
Yes.
Oh, you know the exact amount.
Oh yeah, I never forgot that figure.
Right.
And I had a young family. I had 3 kids at the time. They were probably all below the age of 10.
Wow.
I had a mortgage, but I had no other debt. I didn't have a car loan or credit card debt. So I remained steadfast. And the next year I made a 6-figure income.
Okay.
I had transitioned almost fully into doing mortgages. And I continued to build a mortgage business from there over the years. So it's been an interesting journey. I had the pleasure of meeting Ryan 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2017. Yes.
2017. Yeah,
Wow.
and it's interesting. I saw the, the the event on Facebook where he wanted to get together with professionals. I didn't know Ryan before.
Mm.
I didn't know any of the folks who were part of the group, and I had nothing else to do in the morning. So I got in my car and I just popped over and I sat there and I listened. And ACBN grew from that meeting. So I
Mm.
must applaud Ryan for all his efforts in bringing such an organization to the community. He's an amazing individual. He is,
Really?
yeah. You know, I enjoy
I'll take
speaking
I'll
with him.
take I'll take your word for it. You've known him longer than I have, so I'll go with your word. Plus, you look better and dress better than me, so I'm gonna
The,
take your word.
the reason
Thank,
that I
thank
feel
you.
like it's so important, and Ray, if you can touch on, you always tell the story of that initial mentor that helped you, gave you an office, and said, "Listen, I will help you get over the hump." Why was that so important to your growth as an entrepreneur?
Um, I think it helped to boost my confidence. I mean, coming from a corporate environment, most of us think of the pension plan, stock purchase plans, working till you're probably 60 or 65, and then retiring.
Uh,
And I think for most of us, that magic number in terms of income is also $100,000, right? Yeah, we think,
yeah,
oh, that's like some amazing salary. And it really is not. I don't mean to be condescending to anyone who makes $100,000 a year. Don't get me wrong. When you're an entrepreneur, you know, you want to get that revenue up
mm,
into the high six and seven figures because it's all about the legacy. So when I left the bank in '99, I had a family friend who's quite a few years older than myself. He's an accountant in Mississauga,
mm,
and I went to see him just to get some guidance and counsel. I told him what I wanted to do, and one of the questions he asked me is like, "What do you expect your income to be?" And I just said $100,000. And his response to me, "Well, that's a total waste of time. You better off going to look for a job."
right.
Then he started to break down the cost of running the business to me.
Yep.
And
Yep.
when he finished, I would have probably put 45 in my pocket at the end of the year. And it didn't make sense. But then
Right.
he said, "This is what I'll do for you." And he had a very large client base because at that point he was probably working for himself for 20 plus years. He had a large accounting client base. He says, "I'm going to give you an office. I'm going to furnish it for you. I'm going to print you your 4 set of business cards, and I'm going to give you a laptop. And the rest is up to you."
Okay.
Laptop
And
and a dream. A laptop and a
yeah,
dream.
yeah, had access to Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi we had then was nothing like what we have today. I mean, it was
Oh,
nothing
I
to
can
speak of.
imagine.
Right.
I'm talking October 1999,
Uh,
and then I had a gentleman I worked for when I first came to Canada. I'm a pen collector. I like nice pens, and he brought me my first pen, nice Waterman rollerball, black lacquer with the gold accents.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my office, I had my cards, and there was a steady stream of clients coming in to get their accounting and taxes and stuff done. And they everybody would stop and say hello to me, and they'll ask questions, and it just grew. It just grew from there. But I am very grateful. I've had some very good mentors along the way. Both that gentleman.
I want to just there's some words that are sticking out in my head that I'd like you to expand on. I'm thinking of two words that begin with R. One is resiliency, because you shared in the early days that $897.67. How did you keep resilient in those times?
Laser focus. Laser focus. You put the blinders on. You know what your end result. We all can plan our journey.
mm,
And the faith. You have to have faith. You know what I mean? Most people have no faith. They have no belief system, right? So you believe in God. You believe in yourself. And for me, the alternative wasn't an option. Like I had tried being an employee. I had worked with major corporations, and it wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy the environment. I'm very introverted. I mean, people may find that strange. I speak when I'm in my office, I always tell Ryan it's home court advantage. So I'm in my office, I will speak with you. In a public
Yes.
setting, I tend to blend into the background and just let people flow and do their stuff. But yeah, it's the laser focus, and you've got to believe in what you're doing, and then you have to have a decent product also, you know,
Right.
and you have to have a product that people actually need, you know, and credit, financial advice, real estate advice,
Mhm.
mortgage counseling. You know, everybody wants to be a homeowner, be an investor, create wealth. And
Yes.
if the other thing is the continuous learning. I'm an avid reader. You know, I grew up reading a lot of books as a child, but as an adult, I read content. Right. So I don't read many books anymore, but I read, 10, 15 bits of articles a day based on what I do. So,
Let me ask you, as you mentioned that, before I get to the other R, what are one or two books that shaped you or have impacted you to this day? One or two books.
I read autobiographies. And if I call some of the names, it might not being the best steed for many people. But one of my first was Malcolm X. I read
Yep.
when I was 14 years old, and you had a guy who went from being a Detroit pimp to one of the greatest black leaders the world has seen. So at
Mhm.
14 years old, I read Malcolm.
Nice.
The other book that I read that had a huge impact on me was Saddam Hussein's autobiography.
Okay.
Again, you read about somebody who took a country and took it to a level that most people can't comprehend today. So I read about some of the greatest leaders, Napoleon Bonaparte, Toussaint Louverture, some of the
Hmm.
great slave leaders, because they dealt with very adverse conditions and they managed to survive. You know, so I think understanding the greatness in those people and trying to emulate some of their attributes would help any of us. You know, but for me, it was Malcolm X's biography, which I read as a child, and Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi.
Hmm.
I know these aren't all very popular names for many people, but if you read the books without any bias, you probably understand what I'm saying.
Right. The other R I want to get to, because I know Ryan's itching to get in, so I'm
Oh, no, it's all good.
getting while I can, because you two have a solid relationship, is relationships. Because you've mentioned how a gentleman gave you an office, gave you a laptop, gave you business cards. The importance of relationships.
Very, very important, but you got to choose them very carefully because a lot of people will drain your energy. I always say relationships are a two-way street. You can't have a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to have one with you. And anybody who's given to you, you have to give something in return. So yes, he gave me a place and an opportunity, but I also brought to him a different perspective because I was recently removed from working in a corporate environment. And I helped him to also restructure some of his thinking and his ideas to make his business more efficient. So I didn't just come to take, I also came and brought stuff with me. So that's very, very important. Most people come and all they do is they take from you.
Take, yeah.
And,
Mm.
after a while, it can get very tiring. It can drain you.
No, I like what you said there, being two-way relationships. I think that's very, very important. So I love that knowledge bomb you dropped. Ryan, I know I'll let you free now. Go ahead.
No, that sparked the question in me because that was something I struggled with from all the, I call them gifts that you were able to give ACBN. You gave us your office to use, so we had a professional address. You introduced us to that accountant so we can get incorporated properly. And I always kept asking myself, what is it that we can offer Ray? Like, he's giving so much and through the mentorship. So I'm curious, what was the thing that you were able to get? Like, was there any benefit from having us around because you gave us so much and mentored us this whole time?
Well, okay, I'm probably 20 years older than you, Ryan.
Mm.
So I'm I have been doing the same thing. I don't mean okay. Let me backpedal on that.
Mm.
I've got certain ways of doing things, right? And I've worked. When you work for yourself, you tend to be isolated quite a bit. So having new people around me, um, yourself and the rest of the team, allowed me to have a very fresh and youthful perspective. I mean, you guys were using platforms for your meetings that I never heard about. You know, you see me. I meet my clients in my boardroom. It's old-fashioned across the desk interaction.
Yes.
So you brought the technology into my space, and made me, see things, a little differently. So there's also something to learn. I mean, you learn something every day from every interaction.
What?
Ray,
Mm.
if I just interrupt, Brian,
Mm.
what I know, knowing the little bit now I know about you, also, was there a feeling that you were creating legacy by helping Ryan's group?
Well, definitely, definitely. I had seen many of the organizations start and fail, you know, or not necessarily fail, um, not achieve the next level. Even the Black Pages that came out in the 80s and 90s,
Ah.
that was an amazing platform. I don't know what happened to it. Um,
Mhm.
you know, it it was my go-to tool as a young entrepreneur. That was my marketing Bible. That's where I found contacts and resources and clients, either as potential clients or just a source of advice. There was black accountants in there. There was black, um, you know, lawyers. Everybody was in that book. Who was anybody in the Greater Toronto area, Montreal, and Ottawa?
True. True.
Um, the next person I'm going to mention is First Fridays, Warren Salmon.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, when Warren first started, excuse me, his the venture back in the 90s, or um, you know, you met a lot of people who had done a lot of things in Toronto. They were
Right.
architects. They were, people who had businesses, restaurants. So, giving back to ACBN and to Ryan, for me, I saw it as an opportunity for them to build bigger and possibly better with much more reach that was done before. And they had one major advantage. They had the technology.
Mm.
True. True. Right.
Ryan?
Well, to kind of circle back a bit, when you're talking about us being around and us being able to mentor, the one element that I love seeing is you building your business with your son, because now I have my daughter and my son, and it's an interesting dynamic because you have three kids and two of them kind of like went off on their own thing, and then one was interested in the business. So my first question is: did you initially try to get all three kids into the business, or was it, hey, they kind of lived their life and whoever was interested, that was like a bonus?
Well, my kids were always in the office. They were there almost 3 or 4 times a week, and they always had chores to do. Um,
Ah.
they all learned to use the filing system. They all learned to shred. And I give them a check every 2 weeks, or every time I got a check, sorry. But I mean, my income is all commission. If I got a check, I give them a check. So my kids didn't get pocket money, $10 and that kind. They got a check. They went to the bank, put a check in their account. If they want to go and buy a pair of sneakers, then they use their own bank card, and they'll figure it out. You
Right.
got a budget, whether, sneaker cost $89. Well, there's tax on that. So you can be like $100, right? So they
Yes.
were very, I don't want to say tough lessons, but I opened their eyes to reality at a very young age. Um,
Yes.
but they're always around me. So my daughter did music lessons right next to my office. So I pick her up and I can sit in my office and hear her play the piano next door. And then my sons played basketball. So when I drop them off, they'll come to the office. And then when they got older, they would ride across to the office on their bikes. But I mean, my office was probably about a 10-minute walk from my home. And this was all very deliberate. God allowed me to basically spend time with my
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
when they were in elementary school. If they were in school half days, I can pick them up, drop them home, attend
Right.
all the school events that they went to. Um, it's interesting, because Stefan wasn't the one I anticipated. taking the role.
Interesting. Right,
My
right.
daughter was the one who was actually more aggressive in the business. Like she would read the appraisal reports on clients' homes and figure out property values as a 10-year-old child. Um, and you know, the economy has a lot to do with people's directions. Because if you find a great job as a young person, then you tend to go down that trajectory. You know, because working for yourself is hard. Every morning you get up, you start at zero, right? You got get what money you made yesterday or last week or last month is irrelevant. You got to repeat that process every single day, right? So,
Yep.
but yes, I mean they all contributed. My second son is an amazing graphic artist. He did a lot of stuff for me, a lot of design for me, and my daughter was always around supporting us and things. So, but yeah, I mean Stefan fit right in. He has an amazing personality. He's a quick learner, and he has no ego. Um, the ego
Gotcha.
can be a big, thinking for a lot of our youth today. A lot of them have a lot of ego. They think that because they're technologically savvy, that's the solution to making a lot of money and being successful. But it's just a tool, right? Don't get caught. It's like using a calculator. It ain't no different. It's just your generation.
But that I feel is an important piece because that has come up in conversations that we've had. And you said point blank, Ryan, if you can't check your ego,
At the door,
you're gonna go down the same path as some of these other organizations that haven't been able to take that next step. So I'm curious to go a bit deeper into why ego has been, I feel like, keeping the Black community back and not allowing us to empower ourselves. Like, what have you been seeing over the years?
First of all, let me say, ego is not a bad thing. It's great to have an ego because ego is confidence in oneself.
Mhm.
Well, where the ego becomes a problem is when your ego is so inflated that it doesn't allow you into anybody's opinion or perspective. No,
Mhm.
you might not use their opinion or use their perspective, but at least listen to it, right? Um, and and that's why it's important to have the right mentors around you because you want to get that information from the right person and not just have people who don't have the ability to guide and help you grow, giving you advice. You know what I mean? But it's like putting your ego aside. It allows you to ask questions when you don't know and seek advice
So,
and counsel from those who are equipped and competent. And it's important to do that. Like I mean, in our business is mortgage financing, and people come to my office about, I bought two houses. Well, I've done thousands of mortgages. So what's your point?
yes,
Like,
yes, yeah.
okay, why are you telling this to me? Or I got a friend who said this. What does your friend do? Oh, he's a contractor. So he flips real estate. Well, okay. Or when you go to your doctor and they tell you, well, you know what? If you don't stop eating all of this stuff, your cholesterol is going to go through the roof. Or if you don't change your diet, your blood pressure is going to hit. I don't know what the blood pressure thing reasons are, but you get what I'm trying to say. And we listen. You got to hit that treadmill. You got to go and try and walk.
Mhm.
You go to your eye doctor. They say, well, your vision is deteriorating. You need to change your prescription. You don't say, well, my friend next door said I can drink pineapple juice and it's going to improve my eyesight. So, we tend to have inflated egos when we deal with professionals from our own community. And it's sad. And I really want to see that change because, you know, the strength of the community is only as good as the confidence we have in each other.
Okay,
Okay.
right.
So if we don't have confidence in our professionals, then trying to build this amazing utopic community is going to be very, very difficult and very challenging.
Ray, I want to ask, well, there's a number of things I can go to, but let me ask you, I know that you're very much passionate about wealth creation. Can you share with our audience where, as you sit right now with your evaluated experience, where are some of the best opportunities for Black Canadians to create wealth in these economic times?
Um, well, I would be biased because I'm a mortgage broker. Like I understand real
Okay.
estate. So obviously, I would shift that'd be my first go to. Um, but in order to create wealth, you have to minimize debt, useless debt, right? There's no wealth if you have debt. And I don't mean having a mortgage or a business loan. I'm talking about the useless credit card debt that affects your ability to qualify for a business loan, that lowers your credit score, that kind of stuff. So the first step would be understanding how to use credit. And most of us don't know that. I mean, I came from the Caribbean. I never had a credit card till I came to Canada. You know,
Right.
I got a $2,000 CIBC Visa card, and within a week it was maxed out.
Oh, wow.
I bought a pair of soccer shoes, some Stan Smiths, bought some music.
Yeah,
Stan
find something to
Smith.
spend it on.
Some people won't even know about those.
Yeah,
So
you
keep
know what I
on
mean?
going. Yes.
So it was game over. And then
Yep.
I got to pay the stuff back. That's not my money. So the
Mhm.
first step is credit education. That's the first step, right? Um, you know, teaching our kids how to use credit, teaching our our older immigrants how to use credit.
Yeah.
And the next, yeah, 'cause a lot of people migrate to this country in their 40s from many parts of the Caribbean and Africa. And, you know, they don't understand the importance of that credit score and the dated items in your credit profile and that sort of stuff. And the next step is figure out which vehicle you want to use.
Right.
So there is the investment. My background is investment planning. So I'm not, while I'm currently working in the mortgage real estate space, I'm not ignorant to the fact that you can create a lot of wealth by investing in the stock market,
Stock market. Yep.
right? So decide which one you want to do, or you can do all of them. But okay, but understand what you're doing. Don't do it blindly.
Right.
Understand the markets you're working in, and then start early. Don't wait till you're 40. Start figuring it out. So if you got a 15-year-old child or a 16-year-old child, you get them started. Let them do this stuff. Like you show them. If you put $200 into a pair of sneakers, I mean, it's nice to have great sneakers, but you put $200 into this mutual fund and it's yielding you 12%, then in 2 years you have this. And if you do this, instead of buying stuff every month and spending $200, if you invest your $200 every month, by the time you're 23, it might be
Bang.
worth 40 grand.
Yep.
At that point, you come out and you can now start buying other things. You can buy, if you've got 4 friends who think like you, then you can go and buy yourself an investment property, right?
Mm.
Buy yourself a small duplex, and so you start somewhere. That you start small, and don't. A lot of times, folks measure themselves to the person's already accomplished things. Like that person also started somewhere. They didn't start at the top of the food chain.
Right.
Very few of us, some folks did, but very few of us started at the top of the food chain. Everybody is taking their baby steps one at a time. And we stumble, we fall, we made mistakes. I remember when the market corrected back in the late 90s, I had a huge stock portfolio. Overnight, it evaporated.
Ooh, right.
Martel, if people know, if people have been around for a while, you start calling them certain stocks.
Yep.
You say, I remember that. It went from $104 down to like probably 80 cents. I can't remember
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
value was.
Yep.
So if you've got $100,000 in the portfolio,
Man.
overnight it has evaporated.
Right.
But I've seen more wealth being created by people who own land and property than any other asset class.
Absolutely.
So
Okay. Right.
get into the market, figure out how to get into the market. Um, you know, whether you're buying a house lot, whether you're buying, small house, whether you can buy a fixer upper, whether you're buying a condo. I don't think there's any bad real estate investment or any bad real estate type. I think there's the wrong people in the wrong product.
Right.
Very nice.
That's
Just
what
want to.
that's from my experience.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there are people who might dispute that, but I think it's the situation of the wrong person in the wrong product. And for those of us who are migrants to this country, who have left somewhere to come here, do not forget that place. Because the place that you left to come here, whether it's Jamaica, Barbados, parts of Africa,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who are going there, from other parts of the world, and using up all that resource and developing it. So if you've got some land somewhere on the east coast of Jamaica, outside of Port Antonio, 5 acres of being the family, you don't want to sell that stuff.
No.
You want to hold on to that piece of land and figure out how you can now monetize that piece of land.
Right. Yes.
Absolutely.
And too many times people come to North America, and you hear it a lot. Oh, I'm never going back to the Caribbean. Well,
Mhm.
no, because there's folks who are going there, developers every day, and buying property. I've helped clients of mine to buy property in Jamaica. When I first started doing it, you could have bought a home for probably $65,000 easily. So clients
Right.
would cash in equity here and buy a home cash in Jamaica. Because rates here are cheap, rates in Jamaica are much higher.
Yep.
Today, homes in Jamaica, when I look at the prices today, 300,000 US,
Yep.
400,000 US, because the demand is now so high
Mm.
that people have now figured out that, you know, instead of me going and staying in a resort or a hotel, I can buy this piece of property. And you've got all this technology that allows people to use a short-term renter system to earn income from their property. So,
Right.
real estate will give you a lot of opportunities.
Land.
And it doesn't
Land.
spoil. It doesn't spoil. And you can drive by
Land.
it, and you can drive by it and see what you own. You can say, I own this property.
Yeah.
I own
Right.
that property. I own this piece of land. And it also allows you to leave a legacy for the next generation.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
all
it's-
the, you know,
That it's interesting you're
So
saying
true.
that because over the last 15, 20 years, one of the terms we hear all the time, especially in the Black environment, is gentrification. And why are we affected by gentrification? Because we don't own the land.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So
No,
Christopher Lawrence is saying here, I've heard the phrase, quote, cash or dash, unquote, but leveraging credit is an empowering thing. And then he also says, start small, think big, facts. So you have a fan, sir. Another fan, by the way.
thank you, Christopher. Thank you very much.
Love it. And I had a question around, you've been with ACBN from the very beginning. So I was always curious to know from you, where do you think it could go, or where should it go? Like, what do you envision for this type of organization in the future?
I think ACBN has the ability to become the marquee Black, or let me rephrase that, Afro-Caribbean business, culture, financial hub within Canada. It has the ability with the people who are on board with the experiences and their abilities. It has the ability to do that. Within the U.S., there are many very large Black organizations. You've got the Black sororities, obviously, which are very powerful in the U.S.
Yes.
Right,
Then
right.
you've got the NAACP, and then you've got a series of others. But we don't have anything in Canada that is similar. We haven't really had, and I'm gonna date myself here, and I may upset a few people, but we haven't had any real Black leadership in Toronto since Dudley Laws and Charles Roach.
I would agree.
And interestingly enough, I think Charles Roach died in 2012, if my memory serves me correctly, and I got an alert on you get these memories on your Facebook page. I got an alert, I think, either yesterday or this morning, celebrating his life. And I was thinking, like there hasn't been anyone who has really transitioned to that level. And we might not necessarily need one individual, but we need an organization. That when folks need information and guidance and counsel, well, let us call ACBN. They can connect us with the right people.
Right.
When people migrate to this country from other parts of the world who are Afro-Caribbean or from the continent, the first thing they want to do is sit down with a panel or a group of the ACBN members and get guidance, like how to get into university, how do I get my university degree that I got in Ghana, how do I get it, assessed so I can find reasonable and gainful employment in Canada as opposed to going and working for a minimum wage job when I've got a bachelor's degree in engineering or I've got a master's degree in math.
Right.
I mean, education is education. I don't care where you got it from. I mean, unless you got into some kind of bogus university, that's different. But those things are important because it cuts down the timeline to you getting up to being self-sufficient, taking care of your family, creating wealth, buying real assets, and then hopefully creating the legacy for the next generation. So I think it's very important that ACBN maintains their stronghold, make some noise, shake things up. Not everything that you say or do is going to be popular opinion. There will be people who will be dissidents, but if there's no opposition, then you're doing something wrong.
Very true.
Everybody's agreeing with you, then you're doing something very, very wrong. You know what I mean?
So Ray, it's interesting that you said about the leadership, and I agree with you. In the Toronto environment, there hasn't been someone like Dudley Law since his passing away. Do you feel, though, in today's environment, we don't need a leader or one or two leaders, we need a collaboration?
Yes, but we still need somebody who has nothing to lose, is going to say what they need to say if necessary. I mean, the Afro-Caribbean individual has been, I hate using the word marginalized, but we've been marginalized, and being racialized, and use whatever eyes you want to put at the end of those words.
Right.
For centuries. And there's not many people who show up for us. There's a case right now here, right in the U.S. right now, with a young man who was shot in Brunswick, Georgia, last year while jogging.
Aubrey.
Yeah, right. And the defense attorneys have made a request to the judge. They don't want any quote unquote black religious leaders in the court anymore. And the person they're referring to is Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton, yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you may like him, you may not like him, but Al Sharpton shows up for the black community in America. Wherever there's an issue, he shows up. Mm-hmm. We had a similar case in Canada, and I don't want to make this a very political conversation now. I mean, but we need to be very aware of what's happening around us. We had a similar situation in the East End, in Durham, where a kid was beaten almost to death by, I think, 2 police officers or one.
Off-duty police officers,
But the noise in Canada, in the GTA, was almost non-existent.
Gotcha.
Right. So we need to have leadership who can shake the tree, but we also need collaboration.
Okay.
We can't be doing stuff in isolation anymore. The population is way too small for that in terms of the Canadian landscape. Mm-hmm. In some cities in Canada, the population is probably about 1% or somewhere around there.
Right.
GTA, Montreal, Ottawa is the largest black population in Canada. So we need ongoing collaboration. And that's where the ego parking is very important. You got to, allow each other to park those egos, and, let everybody share their opinion and their perspective.
All right.
Absolutely. Right. And so I asked you about ACBN, and I'm curious because every time I talk to you, I feel humbled. I learned so much, but you're also a very humble guy. But I want you to brag just a little bit and tell us the vision for McMillan Mortgage Group. Where do you see your company going in the future?
First, I want to continue to educate my clients on how to take real estate risk. Stop thinking of buying a home to live in as the ultimate dream. It's an expensive process today. So step back and focus on rethinking your strategy. And it might mean, the three of us get together and try and buy 6-plex.
Mm-hmm.
We live in our apartment quite happily and drive our little Corolla car. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we're creating real wealth now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's great to own a nice home and have your backyard and the barbecue and all that, but that is not a money maker in this environment.
Mm.
I think most people are confusing the appreciation and the houses because the price is going up so quickly that it's gain to them. It's a bit of an ego booster, but it's not creating wealth in the community. Like, okay, I'll share something with you. So I've got a lot of clients are female, probably about 70%. And a lot of them have done
Wow! Wow!
really,
Wow!
a lot of them have done really,
Okay,
really
what?
well.
Oh, hold on. Well, you have to come back. Well, we can't discuss that now, but right, that point right there, that's another morning vibe right there. All right, so you just set yourself up for part 2. Sorry,
Yes.
because we have to look about Black wealth creation, the mindset. Because if you just dropped a serious knowledge bomb there, 70% of your clients are Black women.
Yes, and not only from the Caribbean, also from parts of Africa. So I've got a lot of clients from Africa, Eritrea, Kenya, the Congo, Nigeria, you name it. I've got clients from.
So a short question: do you ever wonder, saying, where are the Black men when it comes to wealth?
Okay, I think for a lot of, and I have Black clients, Black male clients who've done very well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I'm not focusing on the 70-30. That's
The
a
big
big
challenge
point,
we've got is that you've got a lot of single mothers in our community,
right?
and it's always a mother's purpose to provide
For the family,
for her family.
children.
It's the
Yep.
maternal thing. So I mean, so I've got clients who call me, a single mother making $60,000 a year, and she's got $30,000 in savings, and I want to buy a house, Ray. Like, how can you help me own? I have to own a home. I have to own a home. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I've had many of those clients who've gone from owning their first home. I'm going to backpedal here. Most women have no ego. Most women have no ego. So if what you're telling them makes sense, they will definitely execute it. I had a client pick me a few years ago to buy a property in downtown Brampton, close to the Four Corners. And the whole transaction was not something that a Black client would normally do. But she had a crazy dream, and she came to me and said, does it make sense? And I'm just as crazy. I said, definitely. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And she converted an old home in downtown Brampton into a 4-unit property.
Wow.
It cost her around, now this is a single woman, it's a single mother with 2 children.
Yeah.
Right? It cost her around $200,000+ to do all the renovations. And then she put an Airbnb. And she used to generate between $7,000 to $14,000 a month of revenue.
Wow. Wow.
And when you saw it, it was. I just had another client who finished a while ago. There were 3 siblings, 3 sisters.
Yeah.
One owns a home, the other 2 didn't. And we spent a year turning around ideas. Should I buy a place in Jamaica? Should I buy a place in Florida? Should I buy a place in Windsor? Eventually decided to settle in Windsor. And they bought a multi-family home in Windsor. Right? So my experience has been, and I can tell you tons of those stories.
Yeah, well, you're going to part 3 now, so keep on going.
But I mean, women will listen to you if what you're showing them, if you can map it out for them, because they think differently.
Yep, they do.
They do totally. Right. And I enjoy working with my female clients. I mean, we work from a place of mutual respect. I listen to their ideas. If what they're saying might not make a lot of sense, I fine tune it for them. But it's amazing.
Wow. Well, we're running out of time, so I think that because this is a ... to be continued.
Yes.
We've gone to part 2 to part 3. Ray, any closing thoughts you'd like to share with our audience today?
Take care of the home. take care of the home, take care of the youth. You know, don't get busy. You know, keep occupied, but don't be busy.
I love that.
Busy is unproductive. Busy is
Yes,
busy
love
is
it.
emotionally draining.
Love
Really
it.
busy. I mean, Ryan can tell you, I'm never busy. Ryan would call me, say, Ray, can I come and see you? I said, sure, come by.
Yes.
I like that. I like to say to people, busy is
Even when I just drop
overrated.
by,
Busy is overrated. Positive, productive is what I like to be.
And you know, my son had a problem with that when I first started because clients just dropped my office. And he said, Dad, I said, listen, man, these guys have been around for 20 plus. They're like family. You know, if there's a client out in my office and they've got the time, they'll sit and wait. But be patient, be open to other opinions, other perspectives. Always be learning. Never stop learning. You know, read stuff. Like I am Bitcoin clueless. You know, my son is trying to give me this whole Bitcoin thing. I don't understand it. It makes me very nervous. It's scary, but I'm never going to shut him down and say it's nonsense. I continue to try and figure it out. You know, but
I like that. I like that. I like that, Ray. Just piggyback to everyone saying, always be curious. ABC, always be curious. So just having here, Christopher Lawrence is saying, I think with everything going up except wages, real estate now versus the latter is the key. More education on this is what I think we need to kind of force folks to think small, to think big. And he also shared 15 years ago, I missed out on a real estate opportunity in Stouffville, Ontario that would have cost me $275,000. Now the exact property is $1.2 million. You know, so Ray, we want to thank you for your time there. If people want to get in touch with Ray, there is the website address. Ray, for people that don't know, Ray's not in Canada right now. He's in Georgia.
Right.
So Ray,
he was. I think you're in Jacksonville now.
He was. So Ray, are you available for mentorship?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, because I would like to have a chat with you. And also there's a single mother that I know who is trying to help single mothers create wealth via real estate. And I think she would really benefit getting some of your time if you're willing to do that.
Most definitely.
All right, that's fantastic. So Ray, any closing words you have for Ray, Ryan? I know you're going to be chatting all the time anyways. Anything you want to say?
Listen, I'm in awe of the time that you've been able to give back to not just myself, but the ACBN in general. And I don't know how we'll ever repay you, but I know we wouldn't be where we are today without your guidance and mentorship. So again, like Dr. Vibe jokingly said, I feel like a son to you, at minimum, an older brother that is showing me the way. So I really appreciate all that time. And thank you for taking time just to tell us more about your story. I know you like to be introverted, as you say, and humble and in the background, but at least we get to spotlight you every so often.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I really appreciate being a guest on the show. Dr. Vibe, keep on doing what you're doing.
Yes.
Ryan, you're doing a great job, man. Let's keep doing
it.
Well, don't worry. I'm going to be knocking at your door sooner than you think.
Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you, Ray. Take care. And most importantly, to you and your family, give each other grace.
Thank you.
Take care. So that was an epic conversation, brother.
Yeah. We need to spotlight those.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, they share the knowledge all the time, but it's you have to approach them and get on their radar. So a lot of people don't know where all the expertise is in our community. So, but look at what the guerrilla style marketing, when you start out, this is what entrepreneurs of the new age miss, is that door to door talking to people.
Yeah.
Here's my card. I know you might not need it now. Whenever you need it, I'm here. And consistency. That's one piece that I've learned a lot from Ray, is that consistency.
Yeah, well, the consistency, the resilience, and always being curious. Yeah, I love the thought process there was really good. And that's the thing a lot of people don't want to do. Is just knock on the doors, whether it's physically or digitally, because you have to have that attitude. What if?
Absolutely. And there is no what if without that initial knock. Right. It's an automatic no if you don't even try.
Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. Well, this was quite an epic conversation. So what's going on for your weekend?
I was looking at my calendar yesterday and there was a lot of white space. I was like, am I forgetting something? Like something's supposed to be happening. But,
well, hey, you're following Ray's mantra. You're not busy.
True. But right? In the morning, we are doing our orientation for the youth entrepreneurship cohort. So last chance, if you do know anybody under 30 that's thinking of a business or is currently running a business and would like to fine tune their idea and also get $500 of startup capital, touch base with myself. You can email me at ryan.knight@acbncanada.com or call me and add me to WhatsApp 647-225-3309 and join us for the orientation tomorrow at 10 o'clock, so Saturday at 10 a.m. And let's get you some money and some guidance for your business.
Wonderful. That is fantastic. Yes, looking forward to the weekend as always. For people, if you want to catch me online, you should actually follow me on either Facebook or Twitter. And you can catch the replays of the Morning Vibe at the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook and Twitter, also the ACBN Network on Facebook, and Ryan Knight on YouTube. Looking forward to it. For myself, have a scheduled conversation, my weekly conversation with Aisha K. Staggers and Jill Jones, State of Things tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, where they'll be talking about things going on in the United States. And then Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, have on Black Canada Talking, which is on weekly, every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Deputy Mayor of Shelbourne, Steve Anderson, he's going to be coming back. Yeah, he's on Sunday. And then we're already packed for next week, folks. Monday, we've got now 3 people on Monday. We have, we got to do ladies first. We have Janice Bartley from the Foodpreneur Lab. And if you don't know what the Foodpreneur Lab is, basically they're an incubator, especially targeting Black and BIPOC women who are looking to get their food to shelf on grocery store shelves. And then we also have, I just got it added, Sharon from a restaurant called Fam Bar is going to be on. And then we also have Roger Dundas, one of the 2 driving forces of BuyBlacks.com. And we're going to be talking about food and also Buy Blacks Restaurant Week Fall Edition. So that's coming up Monday at 9. And then next Friday, we have another one of Ryan's posse on, Chris Beth. Powered 4X is going to be launching a new incubator. And she will be talking about that next, right? So we're already booked for next week, folks. So you know where to be and who's going to be with you next Monday and next Friday. Just looking forward to other good things. Thank you, everyone, for watching the conversation today. DJ Renard says, big up. Yeah, it's all right. Good stuff. So as always, let's finish off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. And I think that's it. I don't think we got anything else, Ryan. Anything else? That's it? All right.
All good.
All good.
On Monday.
Oh,
are you doing any preemptive food reviews this weekend for Restaurant Week?
Well, we'll find. By Monday, I'll be able to tell you whatever stuff I'm doing for Buy Blacks Week. Roger will be able to announce that on Monday. So we're going to be, but I don't know if I'm going to do any food bombing. I was just saying Dr. Vibe food bombing, should call it now. I don't know if I'm going to do anything soon. Maybe I'll go back to Mob Seafood again tomorrow and try something.
She got you hooked.
Well, good people. Monique is good people.
Yes.
We'll do everything we can support.
I'm gonna try that shrimp poutine. I'm taking your word for it.
Well, if you're making a trip to the east to try that, tell me so we can link up to do an IG live from there.
That sounds good. Love it.
All right, folks. Be well. Keep safe. Remember to give each other grace. Bye-bye.